Hey there, let's have a look at the Weimar Government by 1924. The problems of the coalition government in Weimar Germany. The Weimar Constitution tried to give everyone a voice, but this meant that coalitions were often short-lived, and as a result, the Weimar government was weak and its authority was often undermined. Proportional representation gave minority parties powerful voices in government, especially if they were necessary to hold a coalition together. Different political parties had different political aims. These would often clash, and it was difficult for chances to find a compromise. Short-lived coalitions. Coalitions didn't last long, so it seemed that Germany was not being properly run or had very weak governments. Centre parties were both left and right-wing parties, and so despite lots of changes in government, the changes in policies were not as great as might expect, which created disillusion. What people voted for and what they got were different, even if their party was in government. Deals and compromises were necessary to create coalitions. Opposition to the Weimar Republic. There was lots of political violence in the Weimar Republic. Governments relied heavily on the army and Freikorps to suppress any trouble. Many political parties were opposed to the Weimar Republic: the KPD, DMVP, and NSDAP. These parties also had parliamentary wings. Opposing interests in coalition government. Left-wing parties wanted increased social welfare, higher taxes for the rich, workers' rights, and in some cases land reform. Right-wing parties supporting homeowners, business owners, and wealthier or middle-class Germans were often opposed to these points. Earlier coalitions in the period were focused on the SPD and the left-of-centre parties, but the KPD was unwilling to cooperate with the SPD. Later coalitions focused more on the centre and right wing. Let's recap that. The opposition to the Weimar Republic by 1924. There was lots of political violence there. Many political parties were opposed to it. Governments relied heavily on the army and Freikorps to suppress any trouble, and the KPD, DNVP, and NSDAP had parliamentary wings. Earlier coalitions between 1919 and 1924 were focused on which kind of groups? These are the SPD and left-centre parties, but the KPD was unwilling to cooperate with the SPD. Later coalitions were focused more on the centre, and what wing? It's the right wing. What was the state of the Weimar Republic by 1924? It was intact, and ultimately the German army had supported the Republic, albeit unwillingly, but the judiciary was very soft on right-wing offenders and very harsh on left-wing offenders. There was still much political extremism, but by 1924 they were increasingly finding themselves on the political fringe. Article 48 of the Weimar Constitution had been used a great deal, and there was still political instability in the sense of numerous coalition governments. Germany had called off passive resistance in the Ruhr, introduced a new currency, and ended hyperinflation. Although the Ruhr was still occupied, there was growing sympathy for Germany abroad, especially in Britain and the USA. Contemporary views of the Weimar Republic. In 1919, Prius, a liberal lawyer, said, "Germans cannot shake off their political timidity and their deference to the authoritarian state." An SPD poster in 1920 said, "Put quarrels aside, proletarians unite, down with the counter-revolution." Tucholsky, a German Jewish socialist, said, "When the Republic was created, these judges held over from the monarchy found it impossible to transfer their allegiance to the new state." And Kapp, in 1920, said, "The ineffective government lacking authority is not capable of mastering the danger." Historical assessment of the Weimar Republic. Nichols, in 1979, said, "The peace settlement continued to poison the political atmosphere in Germany for many years." And Haydn, in 1974, said, "The pernicious effects of the Treaty of Versailles are that it added dimensions to existing conflict, which had survived the revolution." What were deals and compromises necessary to create in the Weimar Republic? Was it dictatorships, coalitions, strong governments, or single-party states? The correct answer is coalitions.